Hello and welcome back to the smoke room. We will be continuing where we left off on a Will's route. So, if you recall, in the previous episode, I believe Will um was in the midst of talking to Cynthia and things were not going that well. Sam was there, I believe, at first, but then he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna bounce because this is getting very awkward." So he basically left Will with Cynthia, but eventually Clifford Tibbets showed up. I'm assuming this is going to diffuse the tension a little. It's going to draw some attention to Clifford and his unusual little Dutch ways. Um, but what else happened before that? Oh, the whole incident with I believe her name was Marcy Green, or is, because I think she's still alive, where she miscarried and they found out that she was miscarrying a lot, that she was abused by her husband, and it was not a very pretty sight, unfortunately. Yeah, so bad stuff was happening all around, unfortunately. And, well, technically, Samuel and Todd got a little close. If you ever played the Smoke Room yourself and at least played that portion, then you know what I mean. Um, Todd, the Mormon, was he was exploring his options with Sam. Let's just put it that way. But that ended real fast when the whole Marcy Green thing happened. But yeah. Anywho, so you know we're gonna see the fallout, I believe, of that. So yeah. Anyways, so without further ado, let us continue William's route in the smoke room. Mr. Halwinick. He clears his voice. Mr. Tibbets, if you please. Mr. Tibbets. I'm working as quickly as I can to apprehend the instigator behind your assault. If this is your quick work, then I certainly don't want to see your slow work. I'll let you know if I think of anything, Mr. Tibbets. He waves his paw dismissively. Well, don't let me distract you. Easier said than done. He opens his mouth again, but gets interrupted by the door opening. It's just Sam again. I couldn't hear any shouting from the hall, so I took that as a good sign. When Sam sees Mr. Tibbets, he has that look, like he walked in on a picture show of himself plastered on the wall. Oh, why if it isn't Samuel? Oh. Well, if it isn't... Mr. The room is so quiet that I can hear the piano in the saloon playing through the walls. Tibbets. Right. Sorry. It's been a long day for me. It's been a long day for all of us. Still ain't over. The wave of fatigue rolling its way through my body is starting to give me jitters. I could really use a smoke right now. Sam looks from my face to hers. He looks like he's putting together that we ain't done talking. Good news, Tibbets. Huh? Tonight's your lucky day. Why don't we get to know each other a little more down at the bar? The bar? That didn't go so hotly the first time. Just relax and don't do anything to stand out. He opens the door and beckons the weasel outside. I'll even buy you a drink. A drink? A cheap one. Well, if money's the issue, then I'll buy the drink. He wags his pointer digit. There's no need to be frugal if the alternative is swill. Sam gives me a look like I owe him more than a few favors as he steps out the door. Listen, Miss Sose. I know that you don't trust me. Frankly, I understand why. But if there's anybody you're willing to talk about, just to let me know about anything wrong or suspicious here at the Segura's hip, that seems like it's out of your hands. Whoever or whatever that might be, just know that you can pass the burden of it on to me. Well, let me think. She bends down to brush a piece of dust off her skirt and crosses her legs. You and I both know that you know more than enough about the girls. I lean against the wall, balancing on the back of my foot. I try not to let my blood pressure rise. Was that you messing with my papers? Gonna lock me up? I could. She crosses her arms. So do it then. If I arrest her, the other girls would know. That would spread to the madam, and I wouldn't be welcome here anymore. We both know this. She's seeing how far she can press the envelope. But we both know that I ain't gonna do that. Just help me out here. She looks away and squints. Then she looks back at me. Maybe there's one way that we can help each other out. Oh yeah? I think that there's something wrong with the barkeep. Harlan Perkins. He works just fine with most of the other staff, so nobody else really has a problem with the guy. But I just know that there is. I nod and cross my arms. And how do you know? Well, there's a few things. But mostly, there's these little mannerisms he has. I work a lot of shifts with him, so I get to see how he interacts plenty. And let me tell you, there's a lot of rage there. A lot of malice. And he hides it well, but not so well enough for me. I can read it on his face. So, why are you suddenly so willing to talk about him specifically? Well, he's not exactly family. So, certain people at the brothel are family to you? Well, all of the workers really. Even the ones who are rough around the edges. Like Sam? Well, of course Sam. But also the ones who won't approach first-timers. And the ones who don't want to be here, but really have nowhere else to go. It's a tough life. Being married sounds tougher. Didn't work out so well for you, did it? I crack a smile. Nope. No, it sure didn't. She laughs too. Quietly. Plenty of other girls who come here think that they've hit rock bottom. Enough of them think that they're disgraced because Christian men want virgins. Or rather, the virgins they didn't dally with yet. Those men's losses. Virgins aren't so good in bed. More importantly, these girls have got to learn what rock bottom is. I hum. And what do you think that looks like? She bites her lip, nodding. Well, you saw what happened to Miss Green. Tied to a broken husband at the hip, till death do you part with no spending power. She crosses her arms and sighs. Now that's rock bottom. The girls aren't so mean to themselves for working the profession after they get used to having money. As well as how to manage it. So I take it a bartending Jack, who seems to be the madam's biggest fan, wouldn't exactly have as much in common with the rest of her employees. Back to Harlan again? He's been on my mind lately. Can you tell me what you know about him? I don't like how he looks at me the past few days. Normally, he's curt and rude and minds his own business. But with me, she bites her lip again. He stares. What do you suspect? To be honest, I just don't want to think about Mr. Perkins right now. If he's doing something wrong, I suspect that he's going to slip up sooner or later. It's your job to notice when he does or not. I hold my hands to my back and look to the ceiling, grunting as my spine stretches. I only have 2 eyes, Cynthia. Give me some results and maybe you'll get more. Are we done here? My breath escapes me. Yeah, we're done. She unfolds her arms and stands up. Her bony elbows bump into me on her way out. When I open the door, I see a few girls run around the corner, whispering and giggling before they disappear. The bar is packed. That's typical for a mid-afternoon on a Sunday. But I don't have to see him to know where Sam is sitting. He'll be at his usual spot in the corner. As I approach it, I can hear that I was right. Does it shine? Yeah. Can I find it at the bottom of a river? Yep. Is it a mineral? Nope. The weasel leans into the table, crossing his arms. How many questions am I at? 17. That was one of your questions, by the way. That doesn't count. Yeah, huh? The weasel starts chittering maniacally in a different language. Does it glow? None that I've ever seen. Last question. Okay. Is it bigger or smaller than half a meter? What's a meter? What do you mean, what's a meter? I mean, what is a meter? Ah, right. It's, the size of 3 feet. My feet or your feet? Okay, now you're just trying to vex me, Samuel. A foot is 12 inches, I think. Oh. Well then, in that case, I suppose it depends. What do you mean it depends? Time to take another guess, Mr. Tibbets. What am I thinking of? The weasel rubs his temples with his hands and makes a groaning sound. Then he stops and smiles. An anchor. He perks up and puffs out his chest. Nope. The bollocks do you mean, nope? Now calm down, Mr. Tibbets. I've got your answer. The weasel leans in closer. Yes? Go on. You ready? Goodness, yes. Alright. Sam holds up a finger and then balls his fist and coughs into it, clearing his throat. The answer is... a freshly caught catfish. A what? That's absurd! I shit you not, Mr. Tibbets. The animal is real, and quite absurd. I asked you if the thing was living, and you told me it wasn't! A freshly gutted catfish. You cheated! No, I didn't. You just weren't thinking broadly enough. Creative, my foot. I had to shake you. Sorry to interrupt you, boys. You're not interrupting a thing. This game is over. I need a drink. We watch him pout as he makes his way back to the bar, waving his hand for the barkeep's attention. He's right, you know. You did cheat. I don't agree. Y'all just can't be too stubborn about something's state of being. You're just teasing him, aren't you? Maybe just a bit. I feel myself grin. Piece of shit. Hey. It's not like neither of us got to have any fun. Besides, he wouldn't let me pick the game. Very sportsmanlike of you. The sportiest. He watches Cliff still waiting at the bar and lowers his voice. So what did you and Cynthia end up talking about? We're both suspicious of the barkeep. Sam squints and looks back at me. Our bartender? We ain't drinking anywhere else, are we? I just mean... well, look at him. Don't make eye contact. I meant figuratively. He's old, William. And he's got a lot to lose if he screws up anything. He sure does, doesn't he? A look of understanding crosses his face. Then he looks guilty. Ashamed. So you think he might be backed into a corner? Maybe. For all we know, he could think that he's already lost too much. People do desperate things when there's nothing else to lose. I feel angry. Stop blaming yourself. It comes across harsher than I meant it to. He flinches and scowls. Sorry, I can't exactly turn my feelings off like you can. I meant that there is a difference between what you need and what you want when it comes to being backed into a corner. He's doing fine enough for himself compared to you. Or Nik. Cozy job, bartending in the most popular place in town. You really know how to make a man feel special. I want to get into his office, Sam. His office? That's funny. Am I laughing? No, but I ought to be if you think that you're getting in there. He keeps his space looked tighter than the chastity cage door put on him. Do you think Harlan has secrets? Everybody does. Relative to the case, I mean. I don't really know. He ain't ever been the nicest fella, but he's fair enough if you don't give him any trouble. Keeps to himself. So, do you trust him? He taps the table. I didn't say that. Enough for you to think that he's not suspicious, I mean. Cynthia doesn't trust him. And what about you? I consider most of Cynthia's judgments good enough to be considered what I believe. More than likely not. Any exceptions? He shrugs. There's you, I suppose. He grins. I don't need everybody to like me. So long as I like you, Sheriff. Don't get me hot in public, Sam. That's a desert, William. Everybody's hot. He knows what I mean, so he doesn't get the dignity of a response. Rather than calming down, the energy in the bar keeps ramping up. The overcrowding here spills into the stage area, and I can hear some performers start to speak up. I kick back in the chair and fold my arms behind my head. There's your deputy. A very confused-looking otter is talking with Cynthia. Todd! The voice in the bar is quiet down a bit after I shout. But the noise recovers quickly and the otter comes rushing towards us. There you are, sir. I did a thorough check on the greenhouse and I logged the necessary evidence. Did Marcy make it? For now. Good. If she comes to, she'll probably have more to tell us. The otter droops. I don't want to step on any toes or nothing, sir, but don't you think that she's done enough? I shrug. We'll leave it up to her. I just don't think that you should press her too hard if you get the chance to speak to her again. I understand your feelings considering you grew up around her. But if there's more that she wants to share, the more we know the better. He's shifting a bit in his seat. I just hope that there's better things in store for poor old Marcy. I reckon Mr. Greensoul is hopping on charcoal by now. She'll do better going forward. Sounds like there's something that you don't want her to say. Huh? About Mr. Green, I mean. He scratches the back of his nose. Not sure where you got that idea from. You just keep discouraging us from the notion of talking to her again, is all. He shifts again. Nah. I'm just real concerned about her, is all. She's the bee's knees, really. Todd looks nervous. Sam looks doubtful. Maybe Sam is onto something about Todd. Maybe there was something else going on between him and Marcy and Mr. Green. I can't say that I have any guesses yet, though. You really didn't like Mr. Green, did you, Todd? Well, Ma and Pop tell me that it's important to like everybody, no matter how hard it can be. But sometimes, it's real hard. He whistles and laughs. There's no chance that you knew what was going on in that house, did you? His tone gets harsher. No, not really. The cougar shrugs and drops it. I can tell Sam isn't going to push it any further. Now I'm definitely going to want to talk to her when she's able to speak again. Good afternoon, boys. Sam flinches and lets out a genuine shout, which makes us all look at him. His ears lower. Sorry. Just surprised. I am known to be very scary. This is the first time that you got the jump on me, too. Somebody as big as you shouldn't be able to do that. Nick shrugs. I am very familiar with this bar. Ain't you usually at the mine still? Not today. It is a strike, Samuel. So you don't have to go into work, I take it? He also don't get paid, Sam. Oh shit. But there is good news. We could use some of that. Yes. I sigh. Agreed. Negotiations are going somewhere. A 20-cent hourly raise will be added for everybody in the company. Todd whistles. Now that's what I like to hear. I raise my glass and Todd meets it. Good on y'all. Should still be higher. I agree, but we expected nothing. Something is always better than nothing. Not the case with diseases. Oh, lighten up, Sam. Victories, however small, should be noticed. Yeah, lighten up. I'll just be glad that they're not robbing you as much. Anyway, why don't you grab a drink with us to celebrate? You can tell us why you showed up here. Well, I usually come here first to get Sam. Then I walk him over to your office. Thankfully, since you're already here, I won't have to make the extra effort. I meant for what? You know, the occasion. He hums. For our, nightly plans? I try to focus for a moment. What do you mean, nightly plans? For the stag tonight. Oh fuck. I completely forgot. By the looks on Sam and Todd's face, they're a little overwhelmed. Ain't that place a bit rough and tumble? Things tend to get rough when you take a tumble. I don't know if I have the energy to go to another dance hall tonight, Nick. It would be a shame to see you miss another opportunity to see it at night with all of us together. Well, we've had a long day, and there's a lot of things that I need to think about regarding Mr. Tibbetts' case. Okay. No pressure. My cup has been empty for too long. I take a sip of the beer next to mine on the table. That's mine. I need it more than you right now. I take a big swig of his drink. Hope you like the taste of my spit then. Todd gulps and Nikolai avoids eye contact with everybody. Good thing alcohol tends to clean even the dirtiest of mouths. You and I know the proof of the beer is less than 4%. You're not tasting just my spit with the proof that low. He leans over and whispers into my ear. I know you dream about me licking balls. So why keep me waiting? I sigh. I wish that I could answer that right now. But I don't want to spoil the mood. So I just decide to act cheekily. Because I never need to make you finish. What are you both whispering about? Nothing for the ears of God or civilized company. Well, I'm sure that he wouldn't be mad at us forever for just a little bit of indecency here and there. That's a bold assumption to make. Well, I just thought about it for a spell. He just thought about it for a spell. Sam clearly isn't impressed. And I came up with this. I can get mad about something that happened yesterday. But when I think about something rude somebody said to me 6 or 7 months ago, I'm barely sore about it. If God exists forever and has forever to sit and think on things, there must be way too many things to stay mad about forever. So you're saying that instead of Jesus nailing his wrist to a cross to die for our sins, he should have just waited it out? More or less, maybe. And people say I'm morbid when I talk. What does Nikolai think about it? Yeah, I'd love to hear another perspective. Yeah, Nick. Enlighten them. Who, me? Didn't know that there was another Nick at the table. I do not know God. And he does not know me. But if he ever shows up to see me, I will say hello. Well then. The alcohol has passed on to somebody else. There's Bible talk, and I'm sweating plenty, so this might as well be church. I think that I'm gonna step outside for a bit of air. Wanna join me, Nick? No. I am invested in the conclusion of the discussion. Alright then. I'll be back after a smoke or two. The plants and the fancy seats on the front porch of the hip make for a cozy space to sit. But it might be a fruitless endeavor, considering all the alcohol and the pussy is inside of the building, which makes it where everybody really wants to be. People give me looks as they pass me by, but I just ignore them, rustling through my pockets. There's a thick cigar that I've been saving for a stressful situation. I don't take it out just yet. I've had far worse days than this one. So I fish around for a slim stick in a pack instead, pluck it out, and go ahead and light it up. A rush of relief flows through me as I inhale, and then blow. Not the kind of blowing Sam was talking about, though. But if I ever did want to try that again, I think that I might want it to be with him. Or at least have him near me when I did. He's anxious about a lot of things, but never the act. And that confidence is contagious. There's something about how he moves and how he smells, and all the noises he makes that helps my body wake up. But if I indulge too much in those pleasures, we're bound to get caught. I don't want anything to happen to him because I couldn't keep it in my pants enough. Hello, Sheriff. Oh, the Burns boy. I forgot that he was going to show up too. Spotted me quick. Just figures that you'd be all by yourself in the most popular place in the city. That's so. I puff my cigarette again. And I start thinking about men sucking cock again. Word of mouth tells me that Burns boy certainly sucked a lot. Maybe even more than Samuel. And as ashamed as I am to admit it, that excites me. He has a good-looking muzzle for it. And he's a canine like me. Canines know what canines like. He could probably do things for me, even Sam couldn't. But he's a forbidden fruit, so to speak. A healthy working relationship with his father is necessary to make my job possible. And I don't even want to think about getting entangled with what things his mother gets up to. You just gonna stare, or are you going to fill me in on what that business at the store was about? Probably nothing good about your family if the evidence keeps stacking up. You don't have to worry about it. That's probably not true, but worrying never helps nobody anyhow. I don't think that I'd have to if you were straight with me. Sorry, buddy. I don't have a full picture. I know pieces. There's anything specific that you want to know? Is my mother under arrest? I roll my eyes. I don't think that I have the power to do so unless she starts walking around with severed heads. And it would have to be severed heads of the people who would be missed. That makes you feel any better? Strangely, yes. He takes a seat next to me. There's an odd smell to him. On the surface, it's like lemons and a crisply washed clothing. But beneath, it's a sickly, sweaty smell. The kind of sweaty that you get from having a fever, not from a brisk jog. You seem off. Oh. Do I look bad? You look great, actually. But the smell gives you away. I picked a pretty lousy time to get sick, didn't I? Getting shot in the arm will do that to you. Well, I'll have to be ignored. My sister's wedding is in a few days, and they won't be able to prepare without me. I think a family like yours could hire some labor. He finds a wicker chair across from me and takes a seat. Laborers are great for moving things, but not so good at helping with logistic problems. Or aesthetic ones for photographs. I nod at him. So you're still going to play as hard as you work tonight? If I'm doing one, then I might as well do the other. And seeing how you act when we get you smashed at the Stag is too good of an opportunity to pass up. And you think that you can handle that? I guess I'll see. I chuckle. Then I frown again and lower my voice. Mind if I ask you some personal questions? I'm surprised, but not at all. Frankly, I wish that you did more often. You seem like somebody who loves who you want as much as you want. And I think that you know what I really mean when I say love. What do you get out of that exactly? We wait for a group of 6 to pass through the door before he answers. All I know is that I feel whole when I do it. Like, I'm where I'm meant to be, and it's just that simple. But what about after when somebody sees you like a thing instead of a person? He shrugs. It helps being picky, you know. And God knows that I get enough interest that I can be. I finish, then move on to somebody else. Keep the details near and dear to your heart, if you don't mind. It's too bad that you don't want to know. Mr. Burns, it's not that I don't want to know. It's that I probably shouldn't know. Somebody as vicious as you would probably split me open, but I think that I'd enjoy it while it lasts. There will be no deaths in any more bedrooms while I'm around. You were almost fun for just a second. I can swear that a flicker of it was there. Go splash some water on yourself in the bathroom. Anyways, where's Sam and Cliff? I think Mr. Tibbets is busy with one of the women upstairs. But we were at it for 3 times yesterday. I'm very happy for you, Mr. Burns. Yeah. Sam should be in his usual spot. I don't know Sam's usual spot. It's the corner of the bar in the alcove with the round table. You must pay attention to him a lot, if you know that. I pay attention to a lot of things. I'm just saying. You should probably ask Sam what you were asking me. I take another puff of my cigarette. Hard this time. Then I blow. Well, I also don't want to die of embarrassment before the conspirators come for me. And you weren't with me? You're a professional. It's different. Sam is by definition a professional. And his profession is particularly applicable to these sorts of things more than mine. I shake my head. It's complicated. Then want to unpack that a bit? No. He sighs. First thing that I'm doing is sending Sam out. You don't. Second thing that I'm doing is finding which room Mr. Tibbets is in, so nobody is going to strangle him with a makeshift noose made of stockings. Jesus, Murdoch. He's already gone by the time that I'm down to the blunt of my cigarette. If I talk about this, then I know that Sam will get ideas, which means that I'm going to really have to talk about it. Sooner rather than later, he comes along. The fox sent me out here. I know. He seems very insistent on doing so. We don't have to talk about anything if you don't want to. Sometimes silence is good. I like the silence with you. He smiles at me. We watch the clouds roll by as the sky turns from blue to pink and the people pass us by. The last time that I went to the place we're going tonight, which was recently, a man flirted with me. That happens to me all the time. Well, not to me. Not shocking. Most people don't know. Can't know. And yet, still, he flirted. Who? Big Sonoran wolf. Easy on the eyes. Ears, too. Kinda sounds a little like you. Well, he certainly looks durable. I'm not good with delicate things. I don't want to break nobody. Is that why you like being so rough with me? Yeah. I know that you can take a lot. I mean, you already have. He nods. So, why not flirt back? See where it goes? Because I don't get the impression that he'll kneel for me. So kneel for him. The last time that I did that, my dad caught me. And you're still alive? Most of my 20s felt more like walking through a haze than living, but I feel plenty alive these days. He's arranged the marriage between me and my ex-wife within a week. Married in just a week's notice? Yeah. I'd hate to see the bill on that kind of quick arrangement. Mostly it was more of a courtroom proceeding than a ceremony. Then I was out of my childhood bedroom and living in the house my father bought for a while. I take another puff of that cigarette. Then I blow. The smoke looks ghostly. He wanted a child before the year was up, or he'd send me to the sanitarium. Sam cringes but nods. So I gave him a child. And I gave her a child. And he has a name, and it's Andy. I figured somebody getting to be born was better than catching genital diseases in an institution bathroom or having strangers take pieces of my brain away. Sam crosses his arms. Well, after hearing you went through all that, I think swallowing sounds a whole lot more fun than having a kid. I don't hate it. In fact, do love it. It just reminds me of that impossible choice. The life that I could have had if I ran away. Or the life that I could have had if they caught me and locked me up with all the people who have brain damage. Some men just aren't going to kneel. It doesn't need to be explained or defended. It's just the truth. He leans in closer. I just wouldn't want you to miss out on something I think that you'd enjoy. What makes you think that I'd enjoy it? Because it's dirty. You like dirty. Well, I like dignity too. Just try it once, with me. Maybe next time then. He smiles. You sure? You know that I don't like repeating myself. The sun is getting even lower in the sky. Sam and I stopped talking a while ago. But it's a cozy kind of quiet considering all the noise still coming from the inside of the bar. It's 7:17 here, which means that it's 9:17 there. What are you thinking about? Names, traces, motives, intersecting interests. I think about lighting another smoke, then I put it back in my pocket. At least, that's what I want to say. If I don't put it all down on paper in my office, it's hard to keep track. So, if you're gonna waste time, then why don't we do it somewhere more lively? You mean the Stag? Might do. Look at you becoming the social butterfly. Why do you really want to go? I've never scoped it out for clients. Might be good for business. You telling me that you never sniffed out the place despite all the years that you've been here? Sounds fishy to me. Well, maybe it's nice to see you out of your element for a change. What do you think my element is exactly? Just think that it's funny that you can be shot at, or be up to your arms in blood, but you don't wrinkle your nose until you have to make a social obligation. A crowded bar with a bunch of pent up drunks ain't exactly a tea party, Samuel. Hmm, I'm sure that we can arrange one of those with Mr. Tibbets instead. I pinched my snout again. Stop. If we take turns bending him over the table, he'll probably pop faster than the kettle lid. I feel nothing in my body now but pain. Just shut the hell up. Let's get everybody together if we're going. Sam and I stretched before getting back inside to corral everybody. Nick and Todd were where we left them. Nick is happy to hear the news that we had decided to go for sure. Todd took this as an invitation to go too. The damn stag really doesn't seem like his kind of place, but it's too awkward to tell him no now. Finding Murdoch and Mr. Tibbets is a bit more of a struggle. We check the bar and the stage, then the powder room. After circling the whole hip 2 or 3 more times, Sam finds him in the powder room, which confuses us all because we thought that we checked there. Murdoch looks annoyed. Mr. Tibbets looks incredibly relaxed, though I can't help but notice that he's walking a little bit oddly. Once everybody is together outside, Nick waits for us a little further down the dirt road. When we catch up to him, he clears his throat. He puts his hands on his hips and nods solemnly, as if he's going to make a speech. Good evening, gentlemen. And boy, is he starting one. The first thing that I want to express is my gratitude to each one of you for making this evening possible. This is a historical occasion for myself and Sam. We have never been able to get William to come and drink with us at the Stag. It's not a big deal, Nick. Oh, moon. Oh, stars. What wheels do you turn to make our Sheriff Adler attend this dance? I roll my eyes. If you keep this up, I'm just gonna go back home. My office is right there, you know. I point at the building as we pass it. Pardon me. I don't mean to interrupt anything scripted, but, what's the purpose of going from one dance hall to another? The Hip is still a brothel, Mr. Tibbets, but it's world famous for its entertainment and its organizational policies. Where we're going is more of a free for all. And it is a gentleman's club. So there will be no women. Aside from the scant drag king or two who sneak in on occasion. But they're not exactly turned away. Can't say the same for the Mr. and Mrs. couple. Oh, absolutely not. Well, why might that be so bad? Because then it would just become the Hip but without the class. Mr. Burns, I am hurt that you would say such a thing. There is plenty of class at the Stag. It is called the proletariat class. He smiles slowly. Murdoch cringes. Good one, Mr. Kroll. Either way, it is cozy and that is what matters most. Last time that I checked, it was just a barn. He holds his paws on his hips and shakes his head. On off hours, at the right time at the right day, it is not just a barn. It comes to life. I nod at him. So a crowded bar. Well, I know my way around a barn. Pa's been herding cattle since before I was born, and I help him and my brothers out when I'm not at the station or patrolling. It ain't that kind of barn, Todd. Well, what's the difference? The animals filling up, this one is people. And they'll give you mean looks if you don't know how to dance. We have to dance? Yes. Of course, it's not a rule that you have to dance. No. Tonight it is a rule. One dance at least. Well, one dance shouldn't be so bad. What kind of dances do you know, Mr. Bronson? Square. Uh, pardon? Oh, you know. He holds his arms out to the weasel as if to hook it. The weasel looks at it like somebody's waving a dinner fork in his face. The fox butts in to take it and twirls with him. It's like this, Cliff. Oh. He meant a quadrille. albeit a very, Columbanized one. That's the style most people will use. At the hip, you'll see more ragtime steps like the grizzly bear and the bunny hop. I thought it fitting that I learned the foxtrot. He grins, and there is a small groan that hovers above the crowd. Boo. Instead of sulking away in shame, he wraps his hand around Sam and leads him backwards. The cat keeps stumbling backwards until Mr. Burns grabs his hand and twirls him before letting go. Cliff's jaw opens a little and Todd lets out a wolf whistle. Nik is glaring. What's fun about it is that it's a very persistent advance. Fits me well, I should say, sappy pun aside. So, how exactly do you know which dance they'll be using in the barn club? He performs there. Though he performs better when he is not trying so hard to show off. Well, I have to show off when somebody boos me. It's at least twice as insulting as the initial boo. Perhaps you can impress with your hands on an instrument rather than Sam's wrists. You can both touch my wrists if you like. Murdoch gives him a thumbs up. Nik looks slightly embarrassed and pushes ahead of us to keep walking. We should be there in less than 5 minutes if we pick up the pace. Sam slows his pace as he walks, coming closer to me. He's still upset with me, isn't he? I grunt. Now what gave you that idea? Never mind. We don't need to talk about this right now. Tonight's supposed to be fun. Fun for those 3, maybe. Murdoch is practicing more dances with Todd until Cliff cuts in. It's a bit too complex for Todd, but he's trying. I'm not that much of a dancer. That's too bad. Because I'm a phenomenal dancer. You don't dance, Will. His tone is doubtful. You didn't know me 4 years ago, Sam. He smirks. And you don't think that you might be a bit rusty? Nope. Hard to forget once you learn. I don't know. You look a little past your prime to me. Seems to me like I moved just fine the other night. But do you think that you'll be able to keep up with that wolf you told me about if you see him? There ain't gonna be no wolf. You're dodging the question. Just because I can dance doesn't mean that I'm going to. He nods smugly. Nik won't allow that. I feel my scowl getting a little bit longer. If I dance with anybody, then it's gonna be you. You think that'll work? Why wouldn't it? All eyes are gonna be on you tonight. Which means less eyes on me. He grabs my arm and his tone goes stern. And I will do everything in my power to preserve this natural order. I shrug him off and he stumbles. I couldn't help but overhear your dancing claims, Mr. Adler. I would very much like to see your skills, if you'll allow it. Perhaps as a gesture that we don't need to be at each other's throats for the duration of my stay? I don't need any gestures, Mr. Tibbets. Just your cooperation. He rolls up his sleeves and stands in front of me, chest puffed up against mine and blue eyes looking up at me. Oh, what's the matter? Afraid that you can't keep up, Mr. Adler? I'm more afraid that I can't keep up with him. I point to the fox who only smiles back at me. I just want to show Colombians a new thing or two about dancing. I promise that it'll be worth it. If there is anybody showing the Colombians how to dance, it will be me. Ain't the two of us a bit too big together on the dance floor, Nik? It is a big enough barn. Look, I'm not promising to dance with all of you. Let's just say that whatever happens, happens. Nik nods solemnly. I accept your terms. I feel my frown getting tighter. After walking past a few more walks and tumbleweeds, I can see the barn in the distance. In all honesty, there was some truth to what Nik was saying. The barn had a bit of glimmer to it when there were more lanterns and candles lit. But what I didn't notice before was that what was behind the barn. There are a lot more barns behind it that I hadn't noticed before. Their shadows are silhouetted against the moon, and the longer shadows of the pale figures disappearing into them blur into the obscurity of the greater shade. What are all those other barns there? Those are shared spaces owned by the property handlers. For what purpose? Recreation. I think that I get the gist of what he's implying, but I don't like being left to make my own assumptions because of a vague answer. Sam teases me with a littling tone. Fingers crossed that you find him when we go inside. Him? Actually, there's a man that I keep running into. And well, he's a bit forward. He wants to sleep with them. William! Are you? Nobody said nothing about no fornication, alright? And y'all better get off my back. I can hear Todd's voice a good deal away. Do you hear what he said? Why he's yelling about fornication? The other two are lagging behind even further. Jesus, William, I was just joking. I just like if I could tell you one personal thing without making it everybody else's business. Oh, so it's true? All I did was think about it, okay? I feel my heart beating faster and I lower my voice. But Jesus Christ, y'all, we're still in public. Nobody heard us, Will. You are still too used to the city, Will. Things can happen here. Nobody cares. The frustration is rising on me again. You'd be surprised when you're a public official. You, above anybody here, has an alibi. You are still on the job. Even still. What? I don't want to lose control of myself so easily. People are counting on me. So are we, Will. What are you talking about? Remember what happened back in the mines in the tunnel? Well, that just wasn't normal. I know that it wasn't normal, y'all, but nothing happened to me since. You have to take care of yourself before you can take care of anybody else. Listen to Nik. And if you aren't going to listen to him, then please just listen to me. Pull the stick out of your ass and enjoy yourself. For your own sake. Where the hell do these two get off on lecturing me? So... All three of us turn to Murdoch, Cliff, and Todd finally catching up to us. Y'all ready to go inside, or what? Will? Yeah, I'm ready. Oddly enough, the smell inside is better than it was the last time that I was here. They've completely opened the doors to the outside, and we're burning oils and candles that smell like pine tree sap. The inside is so crowded with people that we can't even get to the center bar right now. The barkeep looks more tired than I am. No sign of the bounty hunter yet, though. I should be thankful that he's not here to tempt me to do anything stupid. But it also feels a little like I missed out on something that I'll never take a stab at again. Oh well. So it goes. Sam is sitting on one of the rafters, sitting still while Todd and Mr. Tibbets chatter about what sounds like beeswax and candles or God knows what else. Why do you look so disappointed? We just got here. Too much of today is on my mind. That's all. He looks me over. Oh. That man you're looking for ain't here, is he? No. I don't know. That ain't the only thing, Sam. What else then? I look over at the crowded bar. I was really hoping for a strong drink when we got here. Well, if we bum rush the bar together, we can clear a path. Might break some limbs, but some of the people here are so scrawny that they obviously aren't using them anyway. I snort. You're atrocious, Sam. So are you if I made you laugh. The music stops. I see Mr. Burns walk over to the fiddler, who greets him with an open arms and pats him on the arm. What is he doing over there? It looks like he's grabbing a guitar. I told you both that he performs here. Were either of you listening? I don't know if I can trust that man. He knows how to do too much. That's often what happens when your parents make you do too much. The fox clears his throat and addresses the crowd. Well, howdy, folks. The barn cheers for him just a little too loud for a building this small. Y'all want to know what I think? They respond to him with a rancor shout. I think that it's a beautiful night for a beautiful crowd. You see, I have some associates with me tonight who must not be named. But they're stag virgins, so to speak, so if you can figure out who they are, please make sure to be gentle with them. It startles me to see what a different person that fox is in front of a crowd as opposed to when he's in an auditorium or an office quietly setting up a camera. Once again, I'm flooded with thoughts about the energy in his step and the flow of his body. They're the kind of thoughts that make me forget about his family as I watch his tail move, bathed in the moonlight from the rafters above. He pulls an odd kind of energy that's somehow contagious. The energy that you only tend to find in those up and coming hotspots in the big city, the ones that all the undiscovered celebrities go to. Let's set the tone for them tonight with a little song and dance.
Wind rocks the desert night, the summer sand. Natural things, naturally, what frontiersmen should understand. And nothing's more natural than knowing how to move. Here's a tune about an ache that we can soothe. Let's reenact a snappy scene that duds might find mundane, about a pair of partners who went up and missed their train. One grabbed the other's wrist and asked him, buy a man some hooch. Of course the other said, we'll slire another working pooch. He tossed and taps a shoulder blade as temperance flies the coop. Then eyes meet eyes and glass meets glass as whiskers start to droop. Well, if you're feeling spry and gay, I think you know what's next. Lock eye to eye and elbows hooked and keep your partner flexed. Wet your whistle, quench your thirst, though it be hard to see. Having vice ain't always nice, but hey, at least you're free. Now take a dip and hook his hip, remind me of that scene where words pass lips between the sips and somewhere rather mean. But hey, they're pressed in closer, hey, their courage bloomed, and hey, they're taking wagers, boasting over which their manhood loomed. Though thigh to thigh and pockets frisked, he grabbed his partner's wrist. Got a different kind of drink for you, I simply must insist. Now my mind grows foggy as those spirits fade. Look now how morning light is seizing our charade. Ruffled slacks, sweaty backs, all about the floor. Revel quietly as others about you snore. Lock gazes and think upon my scene. You may find the things they hadn't yet and thoughts between. Lover's light, morning dark, and everything you know. There's many locks and keys as you allow.
There's little campfires all around us. The shades of the people crawl around us, grasping blindly for their own little pleasures in the dark as Sam and I cling together, his chest close behind me. I feel the lump in his pants against my leg. Then I turn around to find his tongue with mine again. It's good. And he's good. But even after all this, my mind is frantic. What did you kiss me again for, Will? I hold him closer. Tight. Because it feels good. What kind of question is that? He chuckles. I meant that the man that you were looking for finally showed up. I guess. You got him to dance with you. Well, who didn't I dance with tonight? He stares at me. You want him, don't you? I don't know what to say to that. Mm, I don't know if it's good for me to get everything that I want, but I do know that I want to be with you right now. Then just close your eyes, Will. So, why do you want him, Will? You ain't the risk taking type. I think that I know, but I'm not sure how to say it. Hmm. If you say the wrong things, you don't get to that Kane scene, but I'm gonna pretend that I want to get to that Kane scene. What do you mean? A chuckle escapes my throat. Suppose it's a familiar to the notion that I had when I first met you. Such as? I was taken aback by your recklessness with the way that you came on to me. Badge newly donned and everything. Well, I wouldn't have done it if I saw the damn thing. Doesn't change how the real exchange was. Sure, you needed the money, but you didn't need my money in particular that night. The place was packed. Could smell how bad you wanted it. Saw it in the shape of your pants. There's an unspoken language to these things, and that man can tell my body's giving him signals despite how careful I need to be. I just didn't think that I could give signals like that anymore. The kinds that you give off so easily. I'm happy that ain't gone, Sam. I thought that it was. Sam grunts. It's not like you get many chances to be vulnerable. I might just be more numb to it because I feel vulnerable all the time. I don't want either of us to feel vulnerable, Sam. I want us to feel natural. Is there really anything natural all about the things that we do, Will? Ain't anything more natural, Sam. What's unnatural is how people try to take pieces of ourselves away. They either try and make us forget what the world made us or downright steal it from us. You think that going to bed with this guy is gonna do all that? No. I've gotta do all the work to get that back. This just feels like a step in the right direction. He puts his hands inside my shirt, sifts his fingers through my fur, finds my chest and squeezes, pulling my back to his chest. Do you really want to do something that would make me happy tonight, Will? Tonight? Yeah, anything. Okay then. I've been thinking about some of the things that you said. That there are things that if you pass them up, you won't have a chance to do again. And you know what? I think that you've been through that too many times. I think about where he's going with this. So you want me to do something stupid? Yeah, and I want to do something stupid with you. Something a messy, stupid, young, dumb William Adler would want to do. Not the 35-year-old man who thinks too much and who's a stranger in his own body sometimes. We stare at the stars together for a moment. You sure you want to do this alone? Why? You want to come with me? He smirks. Kinda. Won't that be boring for you? Not if he has you doing some of the things for him that you have me do on the regular. I smirk. So you think that this is payback, huh? You might be disappointed if you think that I'm as easy to bend over as you are. I didn't say that it was going to be easy. But I have faith the show will be satisfying when you're butting heads with somebody just as stubborn as you. Are you really willing to loosen up? Funny you should mention that. Hmm. If you can allow for things to go where they need to, then so can I. As if you can handle doing what I do on the regular. I'm sure that I could manage. Well, you sound sure. But that's big talk. Good thing that you have a big mouth. You're probably gonna need it. I'm not gonna think about that right now. I'm sure that you'll have plenty of time to mull it over if things come to that. You know, Sam, I read once upon a time ago that the lights that we see in the sky right now are from the stars that died so far away a long time ago. And it makes me think that I don't want to be a walking reminder to people of what I used to be. I want to feel alive right now and to live more with the time that I have left. After all this shit with the hit and the killings, I mean. Sam just laughs. Good. Then let's get back to that bar. Let's find that wolf. and we can do something stupid together. We help each other to our feet and walk back inside. There's people asleep on the floor and on the rafters, but the music's still going, and there's still plenty of people who haven't had their fill of dancing the night away. Kane is still at the bar. Somehow, he has a way of still looking good even after sweating. I can smell the alcohol and the sharp canine signifier on him well before I'm near, then take a seat next to him. He glances over at me and smirks. Well, hello again. It's good to see mixing with common thugs and vagabonds didn't give you a heart attack, Sheriff. And that your bedtime isn't 8 o'clock. He slides his drink towards me. You really think that I'm no fun, don't you? I put my hand on his drink. It's cool to the touch and warm to the lips. Can't believe it till I see it. Where do you propose that he show you that? I've got this, Sam. I take another sip of Kane's drink, then put it down and slide it back over. Do you? Kane chuckled. Yeah, do you? I solemnly swear it, bounty hunter. A few heads turn to the end of the table and scoot away. The wolf makes a disgusted noise and starts mumbling. Not so loud. What exactly are you fellas talking about that's getting folks so jumpy? Sex, Mr. Bronson. The otter clammed up. You don't have to be so blunt, Mr. Ayers. With you, I gotta be. What? Is he looking to join us too? No. He isn't. Except his ears are going beet red. Why don't I handle him? Sam. I have unfinished business with this one, Sheriff. Illegal business, no doubt. A bit hypocritical to say that, ain't it? Yeah. The truth's the truth, though. Well, now I'm invested in this entertainment. He points to the otter. 2 lawmen for the price of 1 is too good to pass up. Y'all come together, so to speak, or I don't go. There is a knot forming in my chest. You're a real bastard, you know that. Oh, you don't know the half of it. This little indulgence just turned into a logistical challenge. Too risky. He leans his chest against the table and rests his hands against his palm. You telling me you're scared of a little risk? A one-note laugh escapes my throat. Acting like a kid ain't gonna make me agree to something this stupid. Sleeping together with a man is one thing, but groups of us? In the open? I don't care what Nik says can happen there. That's just too plain risky. So, how about acting like an adult? Let's get a drink or two in you and see how you feel. Sam nudges me with his elbow. Come on, Sheriff. Besides, if he tries anything fishy, we outnumber him. Kane barks out a shout to the barkeep. Get me a glass of spirits over here and put it on my tab. A full gold glass of rye-smelling whiskey gets placed in front of me. Mr. Kane. Not a word until you get a glass down. I open my mouth, and he tilts his head, eyes shining, like he's about to laugh, fangs showing. So I down the whole damn glass. It burns as it goes down, but I keep on gulping. There we go. Goes down smooth, don't it? For a moment, I hear the familiar voice of a young German shepherd, not a wolf. I check my watch. It's 8:55 here, so it's 10:55 there. So, what will it be, Sheriff? Want to do something different for a change? I know this is a mistake, but I also know that I want to make it. There's something important here. Should I make a mistake? Yes. Get me another drink. You sure you can stomach it? It takes a lot for me to feel it. I want to get plastered. You heard the man, barkeep. Let's wet his whistle. The golden liquid fills my cup again. I down this one too. Then I get out of my seat. Let's go. I'm surprised he can stand. I'm not. Ain't surprising considering the amount that he can put away. Let's just do this before I change my mind. Sam juts out his chin. I'm letting Nik know. Let's not make this a crowd, Sam. He scratches the back of his head, pausing. I just meant that it might be a good idea to let him know where we're going. You know that he'd want to come. He pauses and then nods. Mr. Burns, then? I shake my head. Too reckless. I'm not risking any pictures. How about we tell that Mr. Tibbetts fella? Me and Sam both say no at the same time. It leaves Todd looking a little shell-shocked. Done keeping me waiting, fellas? Third barn out back. It's dark outside, but still warm. I figure that these places are vacant when the stag closes late at night, but I can still see lanterns and bodies moving, making shadows when they pass by the wooden slates. One of the barns doesn't have any lights on at all, but I can still see a good number of bodies shuffling around in the dark. The noises and the bleachy smells are unmistakable. Why the sour look, Sheriff? You too good to mingle with the masses? He gives me a nasty grin. Not everybody's pretty, you know. They could honestly be doing God knows what in there, and nobody would know until sunlight. Sounds like they're getting their groins into anything that they can get in there. Probably. You gonna go arrest them for the indecency of it all? No. Didn't think so. The barn he leads us to has a loft and a lot of hay. There's figures moving in the corners, but the lights are out. He puts a finger to his face and then points to a ladder. He then starts climbing. We follow. Climbing underneath him, I can smell him getting more excited. I try not to let it affect me too much. Yet. Once we're at the top of the loft, Kane takes out a lighter and makes one of the lanterns glow. Very good, everybody. He brushes the hay off of his knees and his head pans left to right. Let's get this rodeo started. Why don't we have the sheriff get on his knees? I figured that he was going to try to pull this. I don't get on my knees. The wolf sucks his teeth. You do tonight. Why does he need to get on his knees? Why else? Because he's going to suck me off and get my seed all over his sharp nose. We hear more movements in the corner. It sounds like somebody else is finishing. Well, I could always do it instead. The wolf starts laughing. Now there is a public servant who understands the meaning of service. He walks towards Todd and musses the fur on his head a bit. But he's not gonna cut it doing it all by himself, Adler. It's gotta be you. Nothing's ever gotta be me. The wolf shakes his head. Sam rolls his eyes. Now come on, Will. Just how many times have I done it for you? I just noticed Sam's shirt is gone. Yeah, that whole Kane section was the ending, so yeah. To be continued. So, I guess you could say Samuel got William to finally open up about what he is willing to do. Um I get more and more that these William updates have been more about William himself and getting him opened up more, being from like this the closeted man that he was, that would enjoy Sam's company, but he would also sort of be like, oh yeah, I'm enjoying it, but like I'm not gay or anything. Like, yeah, like sure I might enjoy the company of a man, but like that doesn't mean I'm gay or something. Like it's like no homo. It's like I came on your face, but no homo. Uh, but yeah, so I kind of get the sense that this is becoming more like pushing William to be more comfortable with this type of stuff. Yeah. Anywho, so really, that's pretty much what happened in that scene. There wasn't anything uh of note to show. I mean, before William gets down to business, he has like a little flashback where he thinks back to the first time that he did what he was going to do, where it's where he gets caught by his father, like he mentioned earlier in the episode. Um, but yeah, that's basically what happens. And then after he's done with Kane, Kane is not done with him. So yeah. Yeah. Anywho, so aside from that, before I get into anything else about talking about what's going on in the episode, here are the channel members. These are the people who have subscribed to my channel and who are viewing this um video before everyone else because they are better. I'm just kidding, because they're giving me money on a monthly basis. And yeah, channel members. Ooh, look at all these cool people. Ah. But yeah. So talking about the smoke room, I believe that the next update will be Nikolai. In fact, it's actually going to be three back-to-back updates for Nikolai, then William, and then three more for Nikolai, and then William again, and then so on and so forth until Nikolai is completely done. So from now on, George is going to be working specifically on. Oops, sorry, hit the mic. Specifically working on ending Nikolai's route, and it's going to be the good, the average or the normal, and the bad ending for Nikolai. So all those choices that we've been making up until now are gonna finally mean something. Um, as well as William. But because William is the one that's furthest behind compared to everyone else, that's why he's also sneaking William in every other third update. Also, after William is done, it's actually gonna be Murdoch. So it's gonna be Will after Nikolai is done, it's gonna be Murdoch. So it's gonna be Nikolai, William, Nikolai, William until Nikolai is done. And then it's going to be Murdoch, Will, and then Cliff, and then finally Will. So if you're wondering how the story is going to end, this is how the story is going to end. It's going to be Nick, Murdoch, Cliff, and finally Will. Which I think makes sense because Nikolai to me feels like he's the furthest along in his story with, like the whole the mines, getting the gold, confronting the thing that's in the mines, the spider monster, the whole union, the strike, etc., etc. And then with Murdoch, it's actually the wedding, but also the mansion is apparently on fire or something is on fire. I want to say it's a mansion because if we look back to the Echo history when Chase was going through the photos, this is spoilers if you haven't seen Echo, which why not? Where the fuck have you been? There's a helicopter flying over my house right now. It's very annoying. Anyways, so in Echo, Chase Hunter, the otter, the main character, I hate him. I don't hate him. Um, when he's doing some of the research for Echo, his project, he comes across some photos of the smoke room characters. One of those is William, and I believe one of those is Clifford. And on one of the photos on the back, it says William after the the Hendrix castle burns down or something like that. And basically, it's hinting to the fact that somewhere along the line of the timeline for these four characters, the Hendrix Manor is going to go up in flames, or at least part of it is going to be damaged in a fire. And even in the AU version of Echo, where they are doing the Halloween, in case you haven't seen that video already or read the Halloween update, um, they do make mention of the house, you know, burning up, and then it gets replaced by a replica of the house, which then turns into a spared Halloween. Because nobody wants to go to Echo anymore to ghost hunt. But what else? And it also mentions that there is going to be a fire that basically overtakes a lot of the downtown Echo, which may include the hip, unfortunately. And it also kills a lot of the people that live there. So Yeah, that's something that we have to look forward to. That makes it sound like we're waiting for people to die, but what we're referring to is that happening in the story. Okay, YouTube, this is purely fictional. Do not come at me. Come on. Anyways, yeah. So, any thoughts? Any little things that you might have on Will so far? Write it down in the comments. And thank you all for watching slash listening. If you would like to play the smoke room yourself and play any of the other routes that are currently a work in progress, then you can do so by going down into the link in the description for the Echo Project Twitter page, which should have a direct link for the itch.io page where you can download the game and play it, or you can just go to itch.io and download it yourself. I don't know if they have a Blue Sky yet, but if they do, I might link that down. I'm pretty sure that I forgot to do that with all the other videos that I mentioned doing that, but oh well. Also their Patreon in case you want to support the Echo Project, which, you should because they do a lot of really good stories, the Smoke Room, Echo, Arches, at Astra, which a lot of you should know if you don't. Where the fuck have you been like this entire time? It's one of the quintessential furry stories, in my opinion. Actually, write down in the description if you've gotten this far. If you if you don't know what Ad Astra is, like, oh, I've seen pictures of Amicus or whatever, and like, have you read it or have you seen videos of Ad Astra? If you have, just tell me in the comments. If you haven't, also tell me in the comments because I was already thinking of redoing it as I've pretty sure I've already mentioned. Um, And I did, but my recording was ruined, so if enough people on this channel do not know what Ad Astra is, or have not seen videos of Ad Astra, or have not read Ad Astra, or do not want to read Ad Astra but are interested, then I will redo it. I will redo Ad Astra and upload it with Bear as Amicus, because he has that voice for Amicus. I may even ask Orion to do the voice for like Nefero, because like he has a nice voice too. We all love Orion's voice. Come on, he has a very nice voice. Anyways, so yeah, so if you reach this far into the video, then do that. Anyways, so yeah, so also my coffee down in the description, and like I already mentioned, channel memberships. You should see the little join button on the bottom in case you want to join and get early access to videos, or just in general donate money to me through there. It's monthly, just so you know. There's 2 tiers. You get both things from both tiers, but the second tier are the ones that are able to see the videos before everyone else. Also, there's supposed to be some like little gift thing, um, but I don't know how that works, so I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, so yeah, I guess that's it for now, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.